Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy New Year's. This should be going out. This is the last video of the Holiday 2025 series, and this should be going live on New Year's Eve. So happy New Year's. Yeah, what I want to do tonight is I'm going to make a holiday card, and so I'm going to be using this stamp set, but then I also want to show you how to use it for more of an everyday card as well. So trying to get a little bit more use out of your stamp sets. This is a stamp and die set. This is from Simon Says Stamp. It was last year's, so part of the September 2024 Stamp Timber collaboration. But I don't remember if it was Christina Warner or if it was Kathy Zilski. But you can check out scrapbook, sorry, no, Simon Says Stamp .com out of the States, a great company. But anything like if you have some dies with just the trees or some other silhouettes. So that's what I want to show you is how to think outside of the box with your stamp sets. How can I use them for not just what they're clearly designed for, right? This clearly has Christmas sentiments, those kind of things. But we can use it for, these trees are not they're not necessarily Christmas or Christmas specific, right? You could use this for any time of the winter. These would be a lovely sympathy card as well, depending on the colors that you use and how you put that together. So I'm actually going to do a holiday card, so a Christmas card. But then also one of the sentiments in here is just breathe or peace to you and yours. This would be a really lovely sentiment to use on a sympathy, with deepest sympathy, peace to you and yours, or wishing you peace. That really lovely sympathy card. Should you need one, just breathe for somebody who's going through a hard time, or you're just thinking of you, just breathe, take it easy, that kind of thing. Um, Sending peace. Just could be even you could do a stamp surgery and just do sending you peace instead of this holiday season, just sending you peace. Do like cut it there so that you're just sending this part of the card. Or the sentiment, I mean. So, really awesome ideas for this kind of thing. But you might have something else similar in your stash. So take a look at the images that you have for stamps, things like that, because maybe it doesn't have to be just a holiday card, right? Just although that was what this was designed for, doesn't necessarily need to be that's what it was going to be for. Okay, so now I am going to pull out my stamping platform. And I am actually going to do this right onto my card base. So this is going to be, I'm going to do a standard A2 size, and I'm going to do it landscape. So not portrait, I'm going to do it landscape. So it's going to be 5.5 by 4.25 this way. So I'm going to put that into my stamping platform. And I'm going to be doing multiple colors. If you saw the video that went out on Christmas Eve, I'm going to be doing a similar technique as that one today, but I also want to have a bit of room here. So, because my stamp comes just a little bit off of the edge. So, I'm going to move that over then too. Snap. Let's pull out the stamp rather than putzing with it. And actually, I'm going to move that and I'm going to put in a piece of scrap paper just because I want to be able to get the dimensions correct. But this is an A2 size, so it's 4.25 by 5.5, same size as my card base. But I don't want to wreck my card base, and I can't flip that one over if I manage to get ink onto it. If I manage, let's be honest. In the likely event that I get some ink on it, I want to make sure that I have it in the right space. Okay, so you can see this is the image. It's quite large and it is a silhouette. So I am going to be using VersaFine Clair. So I'm going to be using a pigment ink to do my images here, because a pigment ink is going to give me the best coverage, the most solid coverage. So that's what I'm going to start with. And I want to put this on here. I'm going to have it hang off just a little bit. So what's really nice is this has kind of a grounding element to it. But problem is that the stamp hits just the edge. So I wonder if, well, where did I store my corners? Because that would be handy. Do I have them here someplace? Oh, man. Don't you hate it when you know you have a tool, but can you find it? I found it. Yay me. Okay, so these are called the Misty Corners. And they are actually they are designed to go into your magnetic things here, and they will hold, see, as they hold. This is a little higher than what I want, but it will allow me to continually put my cardstock in to the corner. So I can see, I'm going to put this right up against the corner. So that will hold there. I'm going to put this here like that. Now I can bring my stamp in and it's going to come just slightly off the edge here. So I am actually going to have to move this a little bit. I'm going to put this in here. And my stamp is going to butt up right to the edge of there, like that. Okay. So put this on so that it holds it and pick that up like that. Okay, now what I want to do, so you saw here how these work is now technically I could actually just leave this in here, but it's higher than where the lip. I would have to take my mat out, which I don't want to do because I need to have my stamp bite into that. So what I'm going to do is bring my card base back in. Okay, and I'm going to measure that up to the edge of this. So put that over to the side here. This is going to be the front of the card. So I'm going to butt it into the corner. So this is something you can do as well if you have a like a larger stamp that you're trying to do. Um, this will allow me to remeasure to the exact same place. And then I can pull this out, but I can continually have that hit to that spot in case I accidentally, like my card lifts, because again, this is quite um, it's a pretty big stamp. And so sometimes those end up being quite sticky, right? Um, yeah, never quite know on that. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to heat emboss this yet, but in order to avoid the problem that I had with my little tree that I did at the end of the video at New Year's, or sorry, it's New Year's now, Christmas Eve, I'm going to add on a little anti-static powder. Actually, it's quite a bit, but I'm going to start with that because again, I've been touching my cardstock now. And if I do choose to clear heat emboss, I want to make sure that I don't have any particularly sticky spots. Now, I'm going to pull out my ink blending brushes for my pigment inks. The colors that I've chosen, so for the holiday card, I'm going to do these trees in a variety of greens. So the colors that I'm going to be doing are all VersaFine Clair, Spruce, Green Oasis, and Grass Green. Those are the colors that I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to start with the lightest color. So I'm going to switch them, which is this Grass Green here. And I'm going to pull out my open that there, pull out my blending brush. So you would have seen this technique, so I'm not going to walk you through it too much, but you would have seen this in the last video where I'm taking my ink pad and I'm going to ink up my stamp like this. And then I'm going to soften using my blending brush. I'm going to soften these edges. So I don't want the harsh edge. I want this to stamp down and have a nice crisp color. I'm going to bring my air hockey puck over. Great idea to use. Get this. I got this on Temu or Ali, I think. Very, very cheap, like $2 rather than paying for something like the Debbie tool or one of the more expensive kinds that you can find. Whoop. And this is why it's a good idea to use a stamp platform because apparently I missed that whole section. And I just got ink on there. Gosh, I hate that when I'm doing that. Let me see. And I did get some ink down because I didn't clean off. I got some ink to the top, to the edge here, and then pushed it down, which is always just super awesome. But I'm going to come in here with my mono sand eraser and just kind of buff that out a little bit. So it's essentially it's an eraser, so a rubber eraser that actually has sand in it, almost like a sandpaper. And if you catch it in time, sometimes you can, it'll grind out the paper, but I don't want to do too much because I'm still uh yeah, still kind of working on this. So we'll leave that. We'll see. Maybe I'll stamp over it later. We'll figure that out later down the road. Um, I totally lost my whole train of thought there. Anyway, we'll just keep stamping. Because yeah, no, I don't remember what I was talking about. Squirrel. Anyway, yeah, so I'm not going to do the walk you through the technique too much, but I'll basically be doing similar things on both cards, right? Both techniques. Just switching it up just a little bit, but I do want to come in and just make sure I'm not going to add any more ink down. It's much easier to um, finesse something if you haven't made the ink problem deeper. I can also put a jewel or two there, or a snowflake, or a whatever, something to that extent. Okay, so now I'm going to push that down. It's like that. Yeah, nice. Okay. Oh, and I see again, I missed that one spot. So there must be a dead spot um on the stamp here a little bit where I just have to make sure that I'm adding that little bit of extra oomph to that spot. Okay, so I'm going to pop that on. No, I'm not, because I'm using the same one, same blending brush for the green oasis, but I do want to give my stamp a bit of a buff here. And I'm also going to pull in my template here, my corner thing. I want to make sure that my card has not moved, and it hasn't, so that's good. So we can put that to the side here. Now I'm going to pull in the green oasis. So this is my mid-tone color. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to ink up my stamp. Okay, and I can see here that I have caught the edge. So I'm going to pull in my baby wipe and just kind of use my nail to wipe off the edge of that. Because again, I don't want too many of these. I mean, it's not the end of the world if I get some on there, but it's a good idea uh if you're looking at it and you happen to catch it, that you can, kind of fix it at the time when you've caught it. That makes it so much easier. Okay, so now all I'm doing is, again, I'm softening the edges of both the top and the bottom, because I want this green oasis to go into the grass green, and then it's also going to merge and soften into the color that I'm going to put underneath. And while I was doing that, I did manage to bring a little bit of ink from my blending brush onto the stamp area that I don't want it at. So go in and we will take care of that. There we go. So you can see now it's filling in some of these areas, which is what I wanted to be doing. And I missed a pickup on there. This is the nice thing about using a stamp platform, is that if your paper hasn't moved and your stamp hasn't moved, you can go back and just add in where it missed, right? That's a benefit. And I'm seeing here again. And in that, sure that my stamp is transferring all of that ink. Okay. So now I'm just gonna, again, I'm re-inking. I want to put in a little bit more color, a little bit more tone down, deepen up some of those greens in that area. And okay, now I'm going to come in with my blending brush. And I'm going to tap that out and soften. All I'm doing, I'm not blending per se, right? I'm tapping it here, which helps to take off some of the ink, but it also softens the edge of where the ink pad, because the ink pads tend to be quite stiff at the edge, right? You've got that harsh edge of where the ink pad itself actually finishes. And I want no harsh like edges kind of thing, because I want those transitions to be quite smooth and easy blending is what I'm looking for. All right, so now I'm going to come over, bring my little hockey puck. Oh, I think that's maybe what I was talking about. My hockey puck that I got from, I think I got it a couple of years ago, so it's probably from Allie. Oh yeah, look at how nice that's looking. But the other thing that works really well too is a dry erase marker. And it's just something that gives you a nice, so that you're not having to use your hand and like really use your elbow grease or whatever, or even your fingers, gives a nice even pressure all over the stamp. And then, to start with, and then you can come back in and do the fine detailing of, like that one area where it kept missing or whatever. You can always do that. Okay, so I'm putting the lid back on my blending brush here for the lighter tones, and I'm going to put that away actually into my carrier here. Excuse me. So I'm pretty happy with how these are transitioning. I might actually want to do just a skosh of the lighter color because look at how intense the mid-tone green is. I'll bring that up to the camera here so you can see. You can see how intense the mid-tone green is compared to the lighter green. So I do want to bring in and do just a skosh of the lighter green again. So I might actually still need my blending brush. A bit of a wipe. I'm just giving it a bit of a wipe on my microfiber cloth, just so that there isn't a ton of the darker tone transfer. And I'm hitting the tops of the trees. That. Okay. So this is again, I'm using the grass green, and now I want to soften the bottom part of the edge because it's going to be going into the mid-tone. The mid-tone is still darker, so I don't have to worry about it overemphasize it or toning down the dark tone. So because it should blend well enough, but I do want the lighter tone to just be a little bit more saturated. That's the word that I'm looking for. I want it to be a little bit more saturated. There we go. I think I missed that area there again. So my stamp must have a little bit of concave. Oh yes, see look at how much more like the saturation tone is about the same now of the two shades. So that's what I was looking for. I wanted the saturation tone to be about the same. So I think that was the lighter one. We'll go with that one. Whatever. Doesn't much matter. Now I'm going to bring in my darker tone, which is the spruce. And I'm going to, so I want to ink up all of the bottom part, which is the grounding element of the trees. So definitely inking that up, and it's going to go up the trees. Now, when I go to pull this out, I'm also going to really have to watch watch this. I'm going to have to wipe off my mat. Just shifted that, so let's just make sure that that is still in the same spot. Good. Okay. I'm going to have to make sure that I wipe my foam mat here because otherwise it will transfer some of this dark green that's in here will transfer to the next image or to my next card that I go to put in there. Like if I go to stamp, when I go to stamp again, because I will be stamping again. I use my stamping platform quite a bit because it's a handy tool. Okay. So I think my actual stamp must have a concave part in the silicone on the other side of it here. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm going to shift that over. See, my stamp is missing just a little bit here. I have it over a little bit too much. So I'm going to re-ink up here all the way along the bottom, making sure that I'm getting good coverage. But that can happen sometimes with stamps, and particularly this one, because this is a silicone. So when it's silicone, it's not made out of the photopolymer, which is what like brands like Simon Says Stamp and whatever, because this I actually got probably off of Temu or Ally, something to that extent. So then those are usually silicone or something like that. But that's why it's great when you use a stamping platform, because I can see where did it stamp, where did it not stamp, et cetera, et cetera. So that can be a benefit of having the stamping platform. Okay. Alrighty, so there, very nice. Nice, deep, and intense. Okay, I'm going to put my lid on this. I'm going to give this a wipe for now, just a quick wipe. That, and then I'm going to pull my card out. And I also want to, so you can see, I don't know if you can see this line down here, but there's a line of ink. So I'll use my baby wipe. My baby wipe's a little dry here. But if I pick this up, look, that's the green that has now been absorbed a bit into my, well, I don't know, this is kind of like a mouse pad kind of thing. So I like to kind of come in here and just give it a bit of a wipe, kind of dry it out. It's fine if the ink stays in there because eventually it'll become permanent. But what I don't want is the transfer from that into my next project. That would be not great. Okay, so I'm going to give this a pretty decent wipe while I can. And then I'm going to move this to the side. And I want to bring, so you can see here, just off of the edge, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little element of white there. This is going to be, because it's right on the card base, I'm going to pull in my ink pad and I'm going to look at the edge here and I'm just going to paint this or color it with just a bit of my ink pad because I can right here. And I need to catch this side as well. There we go. Okay, now because I did use my embossing tool there, I want this to be a little shiny, and it is pigment ink, so it does stay wet for quite some time. So I'm going to show you how long this stayed wet, because theoretically this should still be wet enough that my embossing powder will stick to it and allow me to get some really beautiful shine on this now. So I will do this and have it stick. Yep, sticking to the right parts. Now, fortunately enough, because I'm using clear embossing powder, it's not the end of the world if I do end up getting embossing powder someplace else. Really not the end of the world here. Okay. Yep, I'm liking that. So I'm going to move this to the side here and I'm going to heat this. Yeah. Now, technically, the other thing that I could have done is I could have stamped this because I'll probably use the greens as well. But I'm just going to heat this and then I'll put it back into my stamping platform and then do the embossing then. So because this is my card front, I want to try and prevent as much warping as possible. So I'm going to heat it from the bottom side, powder my paper, and then I'll come in at the top. So and you can see how, let's see if we can kind of watch this together here. So by adding the powder, you can see where it has stuck because it has gotten kind of frosted looking. And now on that one tree, you're now starting to see as the embossing powder heats up and it changes from that frosted, like the plastic, it heats up into a liquid state. And then as it cools, which is so cool, as it cools, it will go back to plastic, so to a solid state. That's very cool. This is like card making magic here. So when you are heat embossing, you want to keep an eye on your project. You want to keep an eye on the, ooh, it's getting a little toasty there. You want to keep an eye on your embossing powder. So as you start to see it heat up and get glossy, you're moving on to the next section. So I got to turn around because this is starting to get too hot on my fingers. All right. As it heats, and it goes from the dull, like the dull area, as it goes shiny, that's when you're moving on. That means that it is heated. You don't want to burn your embossing powder. So catching that last little edge there. There we go. I think, oh, I've got one center area there that's not quite done. There we go. Okay, cool. So because I'm probably going to be doing that again, I'm just going to put that to the side there instead of hanging it up. Alrighty. So look at how nice and shiny that is. That turned out really lovely. And I don't have a ton of warping on my card either. That would be pretty flat still. So that's good. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to give that a second to kind of cool off, and then I can wipe off the anti-static powder You know, this is plastic. So again, you don't want to, if you wipe it too soon and you don't give it time to cool off, you'll actually wipe the plastic off, wipe the shine off, which is not fun. What's the point in putting it in here if you're not going to do that, or if you're going to just take all of that off? Okay, so because I want to do a sentiment on here, I am again going to put my little corner in here. That guy there. So do this. And that there. And to do this here. Okay. So because I want to be able to, in case I need to, theoretically, I shouldn't need to, but I want to be able to shift this if I need to. I shouldn't, oh, yep, I'm gonna have to peel this off because I'm planning on keeping the magnet there so that it keeps everything in place. So, what do I want to do? So I could just do a simple happy holidays, happy holidays. I could do joy. That's kind of nice. I could do peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours is very nice. Peace to you and yours. Sending you peace this holiday season. Could do sending peace to you and yours. Sending peace. Also just do Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas is kind of nice. Does Merry Christmas fit over there? It does not really, but the Merry Christmas feels quite nice there. So that's very nice. Have yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I like the Happy Holidays fits nicely over here, but I kind of like it because it's so grounded. Okay, so here's two choices. So the Happy Holidays could go right there. Don't know if you guys can see that. This is kind of, let me see if I can bring this a little more center for you guys. There we go. Okay, so here's the options that I'm considering. Okay, so I've got Merry Christmas right there. This is one of the reasons why you want to use your acetates. It's really nice because you can move it around without having to worry about too much ink or anything like that. So I've got Merry Christmas. So that could work right there. Could also just do this really small Happy Holidays and do a few snowflakes or something like that, or just have it be very simple. Okay. Kind of like this Happy Holidays like this, right? Or Merry Christmas. Nope. Happy Holidays. So I could do Happy Holidays to you and yours. Oh, that's kind of nice. Happy Holidays to you and yours. Yep, that's very nice. Okay, so let's pull out. We have the acetate. That is the line up acetate. That's what I want. So, figure that out. Let's try and do this centered on here, y'all. Okay. Oop, and it's stuck on there. Okay. Okay, so this acetate does two things. It helps to protect my card in case there's any ink on my stamps here. I think I've told you guys this before, but it also will help me line up my sentiments. Okay, so I want to do, so this to you and yours, I think would be quite lovely right here. And that seems to be a fairly straight line. Let's go with the to you and yours. So I've got Happy Holidays. Happy Holidays. This two is a little too stain a little stretch it. The two, there's a funny little little tweak up to it. To you and yours. So happy. All right. So I think I like that. This, pick it up. You guys are gonna go away. That, hold the card down like that. So this is where it's going to stand. Now, because I have done the heat embossing, I'm going to want to heat emboss again, clear heat emboss. So I'm going to put down some anti-static because now I've been touching it. So I've got oils from my fingers on there. And I am going to do, I think I'm going to do the dark green. Nope, I'm going to do the mid-tone green, the green Oasis. I think that'll be really nice, kind of match that without being too dramatic on either side kind of thing, right? So now I'm just going to ink up. Now, I don't think I have used this stamp before. So I want to make sure that I might have to stamp it a couple of times. I didn't condition it. So just going to ink it up and just do a gentle pressure. We don't want to add too much pressure. We just want to have a little bit, just enough pressure to create friction, so that the ink will transfer from the stamp to the paper. Because you want to remember that these are pigment inks. Pigment ink does not absorb into the paper, right? Dye-based inks absorb into the paper. Pigment-based inks sit on top of the paper. Okay, so we can put this to the side for now. And we're going to pull out our clear embossing powder again. So I'm going to move my ink pan to the side there so I don't heat that up. And all I'm using below my paper here, this is a silicone trivet, basically. But what it does is it absorbs the heat rather than my glass mat. Because I don't necessarily want to burn or crack my glass mat, because my glass mat actually has a magnet under it as well, right? So I want to make sure that I don't heat that up so much that it ends up burning or something like that, or getting so hot that it cracks, right? That would be most unpleasant. Okay. So just heating from the bottom a little bit, which allows the plastic to start to melt a little bit. Now I'm tilting it and heating up the embossing powder till it's shiny, and then moving on. There we go. All right, we'll let that dry. I might use that again on the next one because I think I'm going to like the shine in the other colors. All right, that looks great. Moving that to the side here. Now, happy holidays to you and yours. I'm going to give that a moment to set because I want that to dry, right? Like I don't want to touch the plastic and wipe it away or something like that. But in the meantime, let's pull out. What have I got? I do have. Okay. I've got some new blingy dingies. Not new. Not like brand new, but in the last little bit here of some greens. Okay, so that's a little too grinchy. That green is just way too off. So we're not going to use that one. But I have these guys here that have a couple of flat back pearls and some green crystals and stuff that I think could be quite lovely. So we've got, and there's no dimension in this card. It's a flat back card, or totally flat, which is nice, right? Easy to mail. The only dimension is going to come from these flat back pearls. So, this nice big kind of green crystally. And I think I had another one in here. Got this size and 1, 2, 3, 4. I need this little guy here. Come here, you. Come here, you. Oh, shot it under the card. There we go. 1, 2, 3. And let's see if I have a different size in crystal. I don't. Crystal is. I like those. I think I just want to use the green back pearls. I think that'd be really nice. So I want, I think another one in that size, maybe. But, okay, so I've got 2 in that size. All right. So let's go with, yep, that'll be good. All right. Oh, and I missed the pot. Those. All right. So I'm going to put the lid on those before I lose them. And I'm going to pull out my wax stick here. And I think, so because here's the thing, right? Remember, guys, I had the boo-boos over here. So I can, because we've got this nice large area over here. Now I can do two things. I can try and set up like I could go in this area here with one. So I want to do almost over here. And like that. These could do down over here. I don't know that I want necessarily. Is it that bad over there? I don't know. Think because I've got so much white area over here, right? Like it's very white. Um, so what do I want to do here? I think actually that's what I think I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna move you guys over a little bit. I'm gonna bring this ginormous one. Whoopsie. Come on now. Flip over. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the really big one kind of over here, I think, and then kind of tweak these three like that over there, and then do these guys over here. What do we think? Yeah, that actually almost works there. I kind of like that. Yeah, I don't mind that. And it hides a couple of my boo-boos over here where I had that ink kind of come over. So that's, yeah, not bad. I could also, if I really wanted to, I could put splatter on here. I could do like green splatter or something. That would be kind of fun, different. Also, some snowflakes, that would work well too. And then I could add more of them if I wanted to. Okay, so because this guy is so big, I'm putting quite a large dollop of adhesive under him. Here, and here. Now, because I'm also covering a large space, I could do more than 5. I could do 7 if I wanted. Instead, put 3 over kind of on this area, have 4 or whatever. Oh, fudge. Let me turn that over. Let's see here. Let go. Put that over there. There we go. Okay. All right. So there is our holiday card. Now on the center, if I wanted, what would be really lovely is I could do, just do kind of stamp in. Now I have used that one before. So, but I could do like Merry Christmas. And then this stamp set has these really awesome trees. So I could do to just tie in the front and the back is do kind of like just off center here, do these two trees in different colors like this, and then the Merry Christmas on the inside. That'd be really nice, right? Kind of tie in. So this would be the front, that would be the center. That'd be really lovely. We're not going to do that today because we're going to move on to the second card, which is showing you how to use this in a way that is not a holiday themed set, right? So taking your stamp set and switching it up a little bit is what the plan is here. Okay. So I'm going to move that to the side here. So that's going to be card 1. Yay, us. Card 1 is done. So let's pull out card number 2. So we're going to need a card base. So card base again. And again, I'm going to do portrait. And I'm going to need my stamping platform. I think I cleaned these off already. Stick those onto the stamp set. So I didn't want to lose them. And I'm going to pull out the corner again. So basically the setup is going to be the same. Now you could, this particular set comes with a die. So I could cut out the stamp if I wanted. I'm not going to, but I could. And so now I am going to, I've centered that into the corner and have put my magnets down. But now I'm going to pull this in and get that like that. I know that it is going to have a bit of ink transfer, but that's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. Now I will probably want to heat emboss this again because I do like the shine to it. So I'm going to start out with some anti-static powder just in case, because I have been touching touchy, touchy, touchy. You never know. So the colors that I have chosen to work with today instead of, so I'm going to put aside the greens, um, cut out my sentiment already. It's over here in some holographic paper. But the colors that I'm going to be using are going to be, again, so they're going to be VersaFine because, again, it is a silhouette. So I want it to have some good coverage, some good adhesion to the paper. But I'm going to use some teals and some purples. That's what I'm going to do. And I want to try and separate out the color where the colors are going. I don't want to, I'm not just going to layer them. I want to try and get like the trees in different colors is kind of going to be the plan. We'll see how well it works. But that's what I'm working with. So the first colors that I'm going to start with are going to be Warm Breeze and Bali Blue. So this one here is the Warm Breeze, this color here. This color here is going to be the Bali Blue. The Arctic kind of fits a little bit in between the purples. So I think I'm not going to probably use the Arctic. I might switch that one with the Lilac Blue, which is this one, but doesn't necessarily, it's kind of somewhere in between those two. So that's why you want to swatch out your colors, see which ones you like, right? Which ones work the best for you. So this one, I think I was using with the Bali Blue. Yeah, so that one we're going to put to the side here, and we're going to start with the Bali Blue as the first color to ink. So I'm going to move that off to the side here as well. And see if I can get this in frame here for you guys. So what my intention, actually, let me do that to the side here as well. So my intent on this one is that I want to just try and catch the edges of my tree here. So as I said, I'm coming in on the edge. So I'm just utilizing the edge of my ink pad, not the full ink pad, because I don't want it going over the whole tree. All of the areas you can see here that I caught the tree that's beside it. So I'm going to come in with my, and I also smudged off the edge here. So I'm going to come in with baby wipe here and my nail and just give it a bit of a wipe to make sure that I'm kind of keeping that a little separate. And yeah, okay. Now I'm going to come in and soften the edges again. And if it goes into some of the other trees, that's not going to be the end of the world because these are colors that will blend together. That's what you want to, that's what I'm wanting to do, right? You want to make sure that you're utilizing good color theory because some of these colors might need to change. I've seen this, if you're looking at this would be a great time to do some rainbows. Practice your Roy-Jabib, like reds into yellows, which would then give you orange. So red, orange, yellow, then yellows to greens, and blues, which would give you a green in between, right? So technically you could do this with three colors. You could do red at the top, yellow in the center, and then blue at the bottom, and then a little bit of red, and that would give you the colors in between, right? So, let's see. Okay, and somehow I got some blue up there, which I think, okay, good, that's my other tree. I was like, oh no, that would really suck if I managed to get blue so far up there. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the second inking up of my two center trees, or sorry, my two middle trees, because I'm trying to keep the kind of the teal colors or the turquoisey colors. I want to keep those in the center-ish. Now, if it's, again, like I said, if it's not going to happen, it's not the end of the world. These are meant to, they can look blended. I don't really mind that, but I want to, kind of do my best to keep it a little more central is what I'm aiming for. But this is another way, again, of utilizing a stamp set that you have. Change out the colors. That will take it from whatever season it was meant to be. Let's say it's some beautiful say you have a stamp or even embossing folder or a die that has stamps that are like clearly birch trees, right? So they're naked, they got no leaves on them or whatever. Um, just because that's where it's at. So you can stamp them in grays and whatever and just have them be like that season of color. Where's my lid for this thing go? There it is. If you were to take that and you could take your blending brushes and add some reds and oranges and yellows into it and have that that would change. Sorry, I just had a brain fart there because I thought I had lost my my ink pad. So this is the one that I just used. So I'm going to pull over this one, which has the Scotias of Warm Breeze on it. Um, yeah, so you could take those and add like change up the color schemes. Do shades of green on the branches instead, like make leaves and things. Start with the base. Change it out, and that would make it look a little bit more summery then, right? That's an option. Okay, so now I'm just coming in with the warm breeze and kind of poking in some of the areas here. I definitely came over too far in some of it, which is fine. And let's make sure I don't have any in. Oh, and I've got some in that one area right there. That is definitely going to color. All right. So now I'm going to come in and dab into, again, I want to soften any of these edges. Any place where there's an edge, I want to soften it so that it makes it easier for the next color that's coming in to layer with the color that's already here. Okay. That's the whole intent of softening, blending these inks kind of together. Okay. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not, but that's all right. I don't need it to be perfect. What I'm looking for is just some of that color. Okay, so on this guy here, I'm going to come in with a little bit more color here. Pretty decent through to the stem. Up, and then this guy here comes over a little bit. So, how was your Christmas? Because of course, well, I'm actually filming this before New Year's, etc. But how was everybody's Christmas? Hopefully, Santa was good to you. Santa is a good friend of mine, and he's always very good to me. Had a wonderful Christmas, was nice, and ours tend to be quite low key, which is nice because there's six adults and then there's two kiddos. So I have my niece and my nephew. So it's a pretty low key time for us, which is nice. Um, yeah, so ours was pretty good, nice and low key, and that's what I like. Um, have you taken some time to visit with friends? What do your celebrations look like? And what do you oh, sorry guys. What do you tend to do for New Year's then? This year we're having friends over. We're going to be, we started this a couple of years ago. They come over and we play cards and we order in Chinese food, which is always lovely. So you don't have to cook, especially after having just done a whole whack of big like family meals and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to just have that as a treat. So we play, we'll play cards. Everybody comes out. We order in Chinese, and yeah, we just have a really nice, again, quite chill time. I tend to then craft on New Year's Day. That's what happens for me once I get my chicks out of bed and whatever. Um, that's what I like to do, and yeah, that tends to be my day. All right, so again, I'm going to bring in my little square here because I want to make sure that my card has not shifted and it's still pretty good. Okay, so now I want to bring in the purples, but I also am looking at that grounding line and deciding what do I want to do with that. Because maybe what I'll do is I'll do these two lighter purples and I can actually have this Fantasia purple as the grounding line at the bottom. That could be kind of nice. That will go along with all of the bases. That could be really quite lovely there. So I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to do the Lilac Bloom and the Peri Peri. So we check this out. What have I got on here? Doesn't look like there's anything on there, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to use this one for my purples because I don't really have a good purple. I think this one is my purple brush. Yeah, that's the purple one. So I'll save that for doing the dark, dark one. So this one I can use for the two lighter colors here. And I'm done with the Warm Breeze, so let's put that to the side. Okay, so for this one, so this is going to be the Lilac Bloom, same process. I'm just going to go in and do the lighter colors. This is the lighter color, so I'm going to do that at the top and, and then blend in the darker color for the bottom is going to be the plan. And it's going to hit in a few of the spots here that haven't already been inked. Hopefully that's kind of going to be the intent. And it might overlap with some of the blue, which is okay, because as you can see here, I've already got some blue because the stamp already has some of the trees kind of overlap. So that could give it a kind of an interesting effect, right? So I'm just going to come in because I'm fairly certain I did manage to, it's too thick. Let's get this. I did manage to get a few edges of my stamp here, which on the last one, as you saw, I had to kind of cover up in a few things. So I don't want to have to do that if I didn't need to. So let's catch those edges. And we're just going to soften. No. Blending out that edge. Okay. In it a little bit of pressure there. Oh, look at how cool that one is looking. And I still managed to catch that edge. I wonder what that edge is on that. Nope, not that one. This one. I wonder where that edge is coming from, but that's okay. So we'll figure it out and it will be what it will be. And I'm gonna do here. This kind of this lighter purple, this lilac blend, no, lilac bloom, kind of is blending really cool with the teals and the other blues that are on here. So that looks pretty fun. I like that. The colors that are blending together, that's kind of nice. You don't, yeah, it gives it a different effect, which is kind of, as I said, kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's not too shabby. Really not sure where I'm catching that edge at, so that's kind of funny. Let's do that there. Okay, now again, softening out that edge, pulling it down a little bit into the areas where it's going to be blending so that it's not giving harsh edge. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at how pretty that is. That is so awesome. Okay, that one to the side. So now I'm going to pull in the Very Peri. And this is kind of a mid-tone purpley color. It actually goes on almost kind of bluish as well, which is different. And again, another reason why you want to make sure that you're swatching your inks or your ink pads when you're going to use them, because you're never sure. Often the color that's on the outside is not necessarily what you're going to get when you go to use it, right? So it's handy to make sure that you're swatching or checking out what those colors are. Okay, so I've gone up way too far with the Very Peri here in this. And I've got definitely an edge right there. And kind of coming in here. And let me see here. That's not too bad there. So that. Make sure I didn't catch any edges there. Okay. And let's, now we're going to blend. Blend out those edges a little bit, bring it up into the ink. So I'm softening the edge. Blending isn't quite the right word, but softening the edge would be the right, as it's going up into the other areas where it's going to blend, right? And walk that across, make sure that I'm getting good coverage wherever my concave uh, element is. I'm loving how I'm getting this kind of this edge underneath these trees here too. So I want to make sure that I am catching the top of when I'm doing this last inking with the Very Perry. I want to make sure that I'm kind of catching just the edge just underneath of the trees, the tree line here. So that that will then blend into the darker color that I do on the bottom, because I'm planning to do the darker color to ground all of the trees, right? So I want to make sure that I'm getting that under there as well. And I definitely just definitely have to clean up the edges on that side there. Okay, so let's do definitely touch down on the edge. That is going to too much. So that one's indent. That there. And that there. Too far. That there. This one's going too far. Do you guys ever sing to yourself? I just saw a meme. Was it a meme? What did I see? Uh, and do you know sometimes when you see something online and you just feel so, oh, I feel so seen. And it just basically said that people who talk to themselves has show a higher level of intelligence. And I was like, oh my God, how nice. Thank you so much. Because I don't know. Well, I mean, technically, all of these videos are really just me talking to myself. I'm talking to you, but I'm carrying on entire conversations with people who are not necessarily here. And I go based on the assumption that somebody's out there that is actually, watching the video or not. But truthfully, the last video was so long. It was 2 hours of me basically just talking to myself. So, which is kind of you know, technically could be seen as a little cray cray. A little bit, right? A little bit cray cray. Could be. So we can get a little bit more. I'm gonna dampen that edge just a bit here. Here. Mhm. See if we can get on the edge there just a little bit better. Yeah, better. See, that adds a nice, much nicer transition. That was a little harsh. This is blended very nicely there. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to put the cap on this one so that I don't accidentally stick it into the darker color. And now I'm going to give my stamp just a bit of a wipe. And I want to check and make sure again that I'm in the same correct spot for my, and I am. All right. Now I'm going to pull in the Fantasia, which should be, this is going to be a very, very dark, dark, dark purple color. Bring this blending brush in, and I'm going to start at the bottom. Really want the bottom for sure to be done. And I'm kind of make sure that I'm not taking that up too far. Not that it's the end of the world. I can always wipe it down. Do you ever do, I don't know if you guys do this. I do this all the time, and it's something that really drives me bonkers. But there are some times where I think that I'm doing something that is actually going to save me time. Um, but it doesn't end up saving me time. In truth, it's just because sometimes I'm a little lazy in the spot. And it's like, okay, you didn't really need to be doing that, Green. Perfect example is last time I was vacuuming down here. I might have told this on the channel already. But the last time I was vacuuming down here, I had decided, not the last time, but one of the times, I was using my husband's shop vac. Have you ever tried to vacuum with a shop vac? And I only did it because it was already out and I was too lazy to pull out the vacuum that is down here. Because I do have like a little stick vacuum, which would have been so much easier. And instead it took me, oh my goodness, like 40 minutes to get it done compared to the um very minor amount of time that it would have taken me had I just gone and gotten my like my good vacuum, the stick vacuum that's here, or even just gone upstairs and gotten my good vacuum, which could have made that so much easier for me. Okay, so essentially what I've done is I've just gone along the tree line here, and I have softened the darker color because I want to make sure that it's going to allow the space for the lighter colors to kind of still show through, which it sort of did. Didn't come out super great, but that's all right. So now I'm going to, so you can see where there's a lot of white space still in the stamping area here. So I want to come in with my ink again. I'm using the wrong ink. This is the Arctic. This is why you something. This is why I need to put my stuff away. Okay, so we're gonna wipe that down. Thank you for whoever was like pointing out, Crane, that's not the right ink. Thank you, thank you. It's like, why isn't it showing anything? There should be much better coverage there. There. Pretty sure I just put my stamp pad on there. And I'm going to come in and I want to wipe for sure the bottom edges of all of these trees because I don't need that dark color to be coming up the tree trunks. It's already quite dark there as it is. And I want the colors that are under there to already be showing through a little bit. So just gonna whoop, and I just pulled that up the top here. Right. Yeah, yeah. So here we go. Okay, and now I'm just gonna soften that edge a little bit here. Right. We're gonna pull that over, put it down. Just like so. All right, and I want to put my lid on this guy, which is right here. Put that away. There we go. Oh, that is well saturated. Oh my. And just like on the last card, the next thing that I want to do is, so not only am I going to wipe down my stamp, okay, because of course it's going to have the deep purple on it, but I'm also going to give, so you see here, like, yeah, well, you can see here where there's lots of color, but there's nothing in this particular spot here. Now watch as I wipe. Look at the purple that's coming up off of my mouse pad that's on here. So I definitely want to make sure that I am pulling up as much of the ink out of this as I can so that that doesn't then get transferred to whatever I'm doing next, right? Because that's not great. Okay, so I'm going to move that to the side and I am going to take my ink pad because you can see here where I've got just an edge. Now I could trim my card down a little bit, but I also have, this is a very easy edge to just catch the edge of, very easy edge to just catch the edge of. That's kind of funny, isn't it now? But I can just drag my ink pad along it here and cover in or color in that last little bit that was missing there easily enough. If it was a little further in, I probably, if I was concerned about that getting covered someplace else, I would just then, I would just trim the edge of my card, but I don't need to do that on this one. So it was well enough, easy enough to bring in my ink pad, and especially because I was using just the one color. If I was using multiple colors, that would not have worked as well. Okay. So I had already put my anti-static powder on before I started inking, before I started using the stamp. So now I can come in and just have my image. Now you can see here, I've got all of the frostiness of my embossing powder is on here. Taking a little tap, I can see a little bit here on the edge that's not quite covered. So we'll do that. Put this away, and now we will heat it. And we're going to pull out. Actually, I'm going to start with this to start with. And I'm going to heat from the back to start with. It's a large image, so I want to start getting some of the adhesive or some of the plastic on the bottom to get a little bit warm. It will help stick to it a little bit better, and it will also help my card front not warp too badly. That's ideally what I'm looking for. Mhm. Sometimes heating flat, like heating up your cardstock on a flat surface like this, allows it to not warp as well. So pulling it from here. What this does is this helps to draw or dry out the ink that we have put in there because again, it's a liquid. We've added it into paper, into cardstock. That's a complicated thing. It doesn't like that. Paper and water do not typically go together, right? So we have to watch for that. Okay. So here we go. Look at how nice and dark and deep that purple goes. Get that little bit of shine. So I'm watching. I can still see here it hasn't quite moved to the fully shiny part. That means it's still in its it hasn't shifted states yet. So I'm holding my heat tool there for a moment or two still before moving on. I'm watching for the shine and then moving on. Mm. Anybody? Okay. Oh my gosh, that looks just lovely. So nice. So nice when you do heat embossing and then you get that beautiful shine and it just takes all of your inks to like this next bumped up level. It's really lovely. Quite like it. It's one of those magical things. Okay, so let that dry for a moment and then I'll give it a wipe to take all of the and I only have one boo-boo on there, so that's not too bad. Yay me. Is anybody setting any New Year's resolutions? Are you looking to do anything? Do you do resolutions or do you try to do a goal? I discovered a few years ago, actually, that I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore. What I do is because the winter time, especially well here in Canada, anywhere that's in the north, you kind of get used to having everything is so dark and dreary, right? So it's Mother Nature isn't looking for you to do big things during this time, and actually one of our busiest times of the year we make during a time when average like most animals are hibernating, things like that. Um, it's a time to kind of go inside and reflect. So that's what I do. And then for spring, so usually by the end of February, beginning of March, as the sun starts coming back and things start to get a little bit more light and things like that. That's when I start to look at what am I actually going to be accomplishing. So I spend time now going inside thinking about what am I wanting and what am I looking for into my life. What do I want to have for that? And then come springtime, that's when I'll be like making decisions and start to implement plans and things like that. So it gives me time to almost hibernate and rest and come to that point. So it's the time of seeding, right? Because now we've done the reaping, which is the fall. So then you enjoy the abundance. So that's fall into winter. Then in the spring, summer, that's where you put in place plans. That's where you start to do your seeding. That's when you make your plans of what am I going to plant it, and then you work through the summer, early fall to make that happen. And then go from there. So I think so. I've got this really great die that just says happy birthday. That's really quite lovely. Now, small problem though is I did not estimate how big it is, and it covers up quite a bit of my trees here. So I'm very sorry, guys. If you want to cut the video now, you're more than welcome to, but I am going to cut out another sentiment because this one is just too big. Uh, but I can do so this celebrate. Oh yeah, the celebrate would be quite lovely on there. Yep, that'll be very nice. So I'm going to keep that aside for another one. And I'm going to grab my scrap from when I did this. So where did that go to? Should be here off the side. Here it is. And I will quickly run that through my die cutting machine. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, guys. I thought I had done this beforehand and I was ready to do the video. But I did not plan out how um how big that happy birthday was. So we will pivot and do something different. So let's do scissors are right here. Yeah, about so let's scrap back there. And scissors. Let's tape this down so it doesn't shift. So I'm just using some holographic cardstock because I think it'll go really well. So you could use purple or teal or black on here as well, but I think it'll be really nice color because the color shifting will look really nice with the colors that I've chosen here, right? Like the purple and the teal, that should be really quite lovely. Running it through my die cut machine, which is a Gemini Junior. It's an electronic machine. I love it. Very handy. See, did that go through everything? Yes, it did. Good. Okay, these can go to the side. And I'm going to pull out my tweezers for here. Pull up the tape, put that to the side because I will reuse that. I'm going to waste tape. And all right. Tape to the side, and we're going to put, like, look at how nicely that cut out. So I think this is a, oh, I want to say, I think this is a Spellbinders die that I got many, 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 many years ago. And I need to use this guy here. So when I'm pulling dies out, because this cuts so nicely, when I'm pulling sentiments out or anything that's really fine, I like to use this, which is a weeding tool, like a Cricut weeding tool. So it's not Cricut. This one's from the Dollar Tree. But I like to use them because I can kind of push underneath and it pulls it up without, kind of got a bit of a rounded tip. So it pulls up the die without scratching it too badly. These guys are too fine and they'll actually lift between the layer of the holographic paper and the white cardstock that it's stuck to, right? Because holographic paper tends to be, it's usually like a plastic of some sort, right? Okay, so I'm going to take this Celebrate, and I think that will be really lovely right there. So I'm going to glue that down. So this is going to be pretty much a single layer card, which is nice, easy to mail, right? Yeah, so I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive here. And we are going to roughly make sure that it's mostly straight. Let's see, can we get a straight edge here? Okay, so my card is lining up on my grid mat here. And I want to set that right about there, I think. So let's put a finger down, shift it, and still straight. Straight enough. Okay, sticking that down, and I am going to pull in a couple of stamp blocks to help the adhesive down to those guys there. And then I'm going to pull out a couple of just a couple of flat back pearls here, put on there that are the same colors, right? So do that. Where is my dish? There's the dish right there. Tie these two colors together. So I think I've kind of got a few purples and kind of a bluey teal color, I think. I think. Let's see, do these go? This blue is too far off. And it actually comes through as not the right color. So this purple, nope, coming through as pinks. These ones are not going to work. Jeez. Thought I had it, guys. I thought I had it. I'm so sorry. Not gonna work, not gonna work. Do I have another one? So. Let's see. I mean, I've got white, very least. Let's see what else do I got? These ones are good. Okay, yeah, these ones will showcase the colors. So that'll be nice. Okay, so these are just clear, but they have a color interference on them. They're flat back pearls that almost look a bit like teardrops or water drops. These will be kind of cool because they will just showcase or they will pull out some of the colors. Neat. So that's it. All right, gonna move the wax step here because these are not going to pop out of here. So we've got one. Oh, and I've got a little bit of a string here. It looks like hair, but it's actually just the plastic from the die cut there. And let's do, this is a bigger one, so can we get that to go over? Okay. Okay, so get that. That, and I want to do, what's this? Maybe this, that, there we go. Okay. Let me see here. We want to do more? What are we thinking there, guys? This guy here might actually need to be one of the bigger ones. I think that little guy is just too little. So let's change out the size. I think I have here the same size. Same size, same size. Do I have another? I must have another bigger one in there. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I want something a little heftier to anchor it over here. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So we can do here. Nope, you keep it top, but I want to go over a little bit like that. There we go. You can come over, up, over. There we go. Yeah, that will work well. Okay, that's gonna work. Let's do this. I will keep my card down so it's not popping up because it's part of the challenge is I'm trying to keep my fingers on it and not have my pops up just a little bit and then it shoots my pearls all over, which is not fun. Okay, so we're gonna lift and we're gonna stick a big dauber of adhesive. Again, I'm just using liquid adhesive, and this is my Bearly Art adhesive glue that is in my glue press. Super handy. Highly recommend. Dries clear, which is nice. So if I do get a little bit of squidging, if I do get squidging coming out, but it's okay because it won't show because it'll just come off of that there. All right. So there we go. That is card now number 2. And I think I've managed to do this in about an hour, which I'm hoping. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. See how well that came together, despite the fact that I had a boo-boo with that. But here are our 2 cards. So 2 different looks, same stamp set, same stamp set. So we've got Happy Holidays, right? So done in the greens to you and yours, nice silhouette kind of stamp set, multicolored. And then we've done, this is going to be a birthday card. So on the inside, I'll do celebrate and then happy birthday to you or wishing you all the best for your birthday. So I'll stamp that on the inside. So I'll keep the outside simple. This could also be a congratulations. Yay, you. Congratulations, graduate, right? Any time of the year. Now, if I had done this in like more somber colors, I could have done this in shades of brown, right? Like browns and oranges or something like that. Really nice sympathy card if you wanted to. Unfortunately, nobody likes to have to make sympathy cards, but they're good to have on hand. So this would be really easy. You could mass produce them or do a bunch of different ones at the same time. Just stamp, 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 and call it good and be done. All right, guys, that's going to be the video. Again, Happy New Year. I will see you. Next video will be up in 2 weeks. We're going back to the 2-week schedule. This is the end of the holiday 2025 series. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, by all means, put your comments down below if you have any questions. Was there something that you really liked about the series or something that you would like to see different? Keep the comments kind, but I'd love to hear your feedback. Yeah, hopefully you did enjoy it. Also, if you have any questions on any of the things that I did, or where to find resources, etc., by all means put that down there. Comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Yeah, I'll also have linked down below a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you enjoy the class length videos and tutorials and are getting some enjoyment and some value out of it and would like to donate to my cause, the cause of me, to help pay for some of the supplies and stuff like that, the Buy Me a Coffee link will be below. Anything that you'd like to donate would be much appreciated. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Take care, everybody. I will see you in 2 weeks. We're going back to the every second Wednesday postings after this video, and we'll take care. Bye-bye.